You ready to go from first to last, bud?
Let's do it.
All right. So, dead last here, the Montreal Canadiens, 8th in the Atlantic with a 22-49-11 record, 55 points. They were 16th in the East and 32nd, which is dead last in the league. The head coach, Marty St. Louis, replaces Dominique Ducharme. So the players they lost were Laurent Dauphin, William Lagesson, Alexander Romanoff, Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie, and Ryan Poling. They signed goalie Sam Montembeault, Rem Pitlick, Kirby Dach, and goalie Caden Primo. For the trades they had a couple here. The Canadiens traded Shea Weber to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Yevgeny Dadonov. Then they traded Alexander Romanoff and the 2022 fourth-round pick to the New York Islanders in exchange for the 2022 first-round pick. That pick was Philip Mazar from Slovakia. The Canadiens traded Jeff Petrie and Ryan Poling to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for Mike Matheson and a 2023 fourth-round pick. And they also traded future considerations to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Sean Monahan and a conditional first-round pick in 2025. These trades are good. These trades are looking like the Canadiens.
Man. This makes me want to make another change, dude. That sounds so good on paper.
Right.
Oh,
These Canadiens just looking like they definitely looking for picks in the future. They're trying to rebuild this organization, which they should, which is exactly what the fuck they need. They need to just rebuild altogether. But the picks they made up, too, are just fantastic way to bring it up. You know, it's not like the Toronto Maple Leafs trying to be an all-around team, I think.
this team is now officially the island of misfit toys. You have Mike Hoffman, who I didn't even know was on this roster on your first line, Jonathan Drouin, Evgeny Dadonov, Kirby Dach. Like, it's just so wild to see these names all kind of put together onto one roster. Like Joel Edmondson, Chris Weidman, yeah, and I mean Montembeault and Jake Allen in net. That doesn't scream success to me either.
Yeah.
It's nothing against those two guys. It's just it's such a weird roster to look at on paper.
Yeah.
But when you just rattled off those trades and those moves, that's a net positive big time for the Canadiens. They are going to definitely take a step up this season, I think.
Well, let's go back to Jonathan Drouin here because he's not been looking good for the past two seasons here. So hasn't been able to play a full NHL season since 2018-2019 due to various injuries, as well as having taken a leave of absence to deal with anxiety issues. He made his return to the lineup last season and would once again be absent from action after undergoing wrist surgery. He had 6 goals and 14 assists in 34 games played. So when he comes back this season, this will be his first full NHL season in 2 seasons. So hopefully he can come back, especially with everything going on.
Yeah, I liked him a lot, too, as a player. I would like to see him have a successful, healthy, full year, get that under his belt, and even make an impact in the locker room, too. I think he's one of those guys that I look at. There's not a lot of veteran presence on this team, and I think he should be one of those guys to take over this locker room a little bit. When you have a Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki on your top line, like, they're not going to be guys to step up in the room and have their voice cracking and telling you all about, like, let's go team, But I think those guys will put the puck in the net. They just need someone behind them cracking the whip a little bit,
Yeah. I get the organization. I get the team. They were just surrounded by people getting injured, just out in general. Carey Price will not be playing this season whatsoever. But we have a lot of, like, I wouldn't say a lot, but a good amount of career lows here. Like, Christian Dvorak had a career low 11 goals last season. And then Brendan Gallagher, big dude, only 7 goals, which is a career low for him, and 17 assists, which is a third career low. They need these guys to really start getting their shit together and pump out.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's any one thing that you can point at on this team and say that's the reason why they were as bad as they were. I think when you highlight the career lows, it looks worse on paper than it is. It was just a bad team, a bad mix. It was just wild last season. These guys got hosed almost as bad as the New York Islanders, I'll say.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that this year they can actually be an NHL team rather than an AHL team like they were last year. So it'd be nice to see. I'd like to see a full season out of Kirby Dach, too. Dadonov on his line, that's going to be impressive to me. I do like that third line a lot. Like, Dach, Dadonov, and Gallagher, if those 3 guys can click and get it together, that can be a very successful line. That could potentially be a second line on any other team in the league, I'll say.
And we'd like to see more from Gold Caulfield here. I want to see him keep going. Rem Pitlick. Rem Pitlick was signed. I don't think on there he was on the roster, but I think we're going to see him be slotted into the roster somewhere too. Rem Pitlick has just been a solid guy. I was watching a few highlights of him today. this afternoon, I should say. And he knows where to be. He knows just the open spots, can get that pass and score. His stats might not fully show up, but when you watch his highlights, you understand just his presence on the ice. So I think just a great guy to have.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know of Tyler Pitlick a lot. I don't really know too much about Rem Pitlick.
Yeah. So hopefully he gets on the roster, or they're going to send him down to the barn. But regardless, it was a good sign by the Canadiens, and I think that.
Hey, if anything, he's going to fill in any of the injuries that they have this season, because there were a lot last year he could have filled in for.
Throw it on the pads for Carey Price.
Yeah.
Yep. But between our goalies for Carey Price out, it's going to be back to Jake Allen and Sam Montembeault. Jake Allen has been outstanding. I think statistic-wise, when you look at his just career, he might have had just a few lows, but he's really kept the pace for the years he's been in the NHL. I think he's well deserving to be a starter.
Some reason him and Brian Elliott I see as the world's okayest goalies, but I would also I very much put Yaroslav Halak on a high pedestal, but I put those three guys in the same realm for some reason.
Really?
Even though I see Halak is really good and these two guys as okay. I don't know why. The three of them are just the same, area to me.
Interesting. Jake Allen.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I see starter from the St. Louis Blues before Jordan Bennington. That's why I see it. I never see him as a backup.
Not a backup. I'm just saying they're okay. They're not they're not going to win you anything. They're gonna play the position and do their job, clock in, clock out. Is the way I see those three guys. Yep.
Interesting take. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that too.
I think I'm probably way off lumping Halak in with those two guys for some reason. Something tells me that he doesn't belong in the group with those three, but I don't know. That's
just a little better than average. Yeah, he does get the job done.
That's what I feel like. They're just the guys that come in and get the job done, and they're as good as that is. That's good. That's great. That's dandy. That's not what wins a cup.
Right. Talk about Scott Wedgwood last season, coming from Arizona Coyotes, got shit done. Went to Dallas Stars, got shit done. Just like a goalie that just get bounced around, but just gets it done. For some reason, can't find a home.
I don't know. Wedgwood, I think, is a different animal too. I think he hasn't had the opportunity to prove himself, and when he has, it's been very small sample size. It's almost like he moves at the deadline, really performs for 6-7 games, finds a new home, and then kind of chills. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. That's where I see that though.
To each their own, right?
Yeah.
So how are we feeling about the Montreal Canadiens here?
Dude, I'm so tempted to bump them up again, but I've already shifted them once. They're gonna sit in the 7th seed for me.
Oh, okay. Yep, I was thinking about bottoming up too, but 7th seed as well.
Right. I kind of want them in the 6th.
They're a dead last. I'm a Montreal Canadiens guy, just wanting to see him come up, and I think they're gonna go from dead last to at least 7th spot here.
I think they'll be 7th spot in their division too, but I don't think they'll be as close to dead last as they were. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think they'll have more points compared to some other teams.
I think they'll be getting just a slow increase, better.